Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I almost forgot. I'm called it a movie. It could be a movie if we want it to be.
Should be a movie.
Yeah, it should be. I'm thrilled to have you guys join us today. As you heard my guest, we're going to talk about some incredible things, that old big noggin on top of your head, how we can make it better, how you can use it better, how you can get results from it better. But we're also bringing guests in to do a number of things to show you a servant's heart in your business and life, how that can make a difference and impact in other people's lives and yours. We're also bringing guests in to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you with this stories, thoughts, resources, tips, whatever it may be. So we're really here just to make you better people. So take your pad and paper out, and we're going to get started here. I want to thank my sponsor, wonderful Pantheon. To join a high community of high income entrepreneurs and business leaders who are building this really cool thought leader platform that's going to change and impact the world, but also change and impact your business as well. For more information, just reach out to me and I'll get you all the information on Pantheon, and we'll go from there. They'll be in the show notes as well. So impact, brain, mind, mindset's a word that's out there everywhere, and it's important because I can tell you right now, I changed my mindset on my health and I actually saved my life. We'll get into it, but what he's going to talk about is something I'm living in the last probably 6 months now. So let's bring our guest on. Mitch, welcome to the show. Is it Mitch or Mitchell? I keep calling you Mitch.
You can call me anything you want to, but friends call me Mitch.
Okay, let's welcome anything I want to. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to the show. I got this thing I found that you call this mind shifting.
Right.
Talk to a lot of people that talk about the mind. Talk about mind shifting.
Well, I think mind shifting, the way I describe it, has really three different parts. So those parts are resourcefulness, resilience, and collaboration. And each one actually happens to be a course and either is or will be a book. But the resourcefulness part is to be able to tap into the most resourceful parts of your brain. And it's based on the fact, we have really, we have many hundreds of parts of the brain, but two main parts. There's a quick survival part of the brain, your limbic system, and there's a much slower part of the brain, which covers, executive function, creativity, critical thinking, and that's in the prefrontal cortex. And very often we're driven in actions and reactions by our limbic parts of the brain. And when we do that, sometimes it's very helpful, but sometimes it really gets in our way, especially in our modern society, the way we have it now. And so that first part of mind shifting is, how do you turn off that survival part of the brain when you really do need to be creative, think critically, and think long term? And so once you can do that, you can be resourceful in virtually any situation. And then the second part is the resilience part, which is related to how we react to different situations. We as people usually go into situations and think, there's one thing that's one right answer. And as soon as we have that one right answer, part of our job is to convince everybody else that they're wrong and that they should adapt our answer. And we also think that we're going to do this one thing and it's going to solve the problem. And when we can go into situations and understand, hey, maybe there's more than one right answer. Maybe nobody has the right answer. Maybe what we should be doing is trying things and getting information back. Then all the issues about us having to have grit and persistence and come back after failure, all of those just evaporate. And so the second part, resilience, is to be able to go into a situation, try things out from a curiosity or playful point of view, and then take that information in and come up with the next thing that we're going to do rather than blaming or judging. And then the third part is about collaboration because we're social animals. We accomplish things because we're with other people. And sometimes, and if you're married, you really know this. Sometimes people are going to disagree with us, right? Um, Sometimes they're going to get in our way. Sometimes they're going to get angry with us, or we're going to get angry with them. And sometimes we have to deal with people that we just don't like. And the way we're conditioned to work with people who disagree with us or who get in our way tend not to work. We tend to escalate issues rather than uh, push them down and to be able to move forward. But there's a ton of research out there into what really works. And so that third part of mind shifting is how do you long term work with people who may be competing with you, maybe trying to hurt you, maybe disagreeing with you, but moving forward so that conflicts become constructive and you end up with something better than either one of you or any one of you could have come up with, rather than destructive, where we end up just fighting with each other, not accomplishing anything. And so the idea behind mind shifting is if you can access your most creative, resilient parts of your brain, and if you can go into situations with curiosity and playfulness and be able to try things and keep on moving forward. And if you can do that with other people so that you're all working together, there's nothing that's going to stop you. And that's what mind shifting is about.
How's the book tie into all this? It sounds very interesting, but how do you wrote the book? What's that goal?
Okay, so the book, the current book, is based on the first course. So the current book is on resourcefulness. The second book, which is kind of interesting, um, this the second course is on resilience, and the third course is on collaboration. The second book is actually going to be the conflict and collaboration part because what happened was in the last 6 months, I've taught the conflict and collaboration course twice. And each time I could just see how people were so hungry for this information because we don't even realize that how often the things that we say get people angry, get people to resist us. And when people started seeing, like, oh, you mean if I phrased it like this, we could move forward? Oh, you mean when this person is doing that, they were stuck in their own survival brain? Oh, you mean when I went to an expert couldn't have solved this problem, but I needed to pull together other people who were being affected and work together to be able to solve these problems. When people started seeing that and those light bulbs went off, it's like in these times where there's so much conflict and divisiveness, this is the next book that had to be done. So that book is going to be out probably Octoberish, and then I'll get to writing on the third book, which is resilience.
And they can start the first book and look forward to the second and third as they
Right.
learn
And,
the.
and and I was to say I resisted writing a book for like 4 years because, and I still don't think this, I don't think you can read a book and learn these things. On the other hand, what I found out from, quite a few people who've read the book, who, they contact me, it's like, Mitch, I read your book 3 times and it's changed my life. And so, you have to, you read the book to get an understanding, then you read it a second time to pick out the things that you really want to try. And then as you're trying them, you go back to the book and say, oh, I'm stuck with this. Let me just see if I think this technique is going to help. And you go to that technique and you try it out a couple times and then you have it. So that's how I think people who are successful using the book. Um, but you can't just read it and pick this stuff up like that.
Yeah, a lot of books you got to read multiple. The books that resonate, where I agree with you, read it multiple times. And game changing conflict resolution is a game
Hmm.
changer. We all have it every day.
Every day. Yep.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm getting to learn this. This is so powerful. You've got this sense making technique.
Hmm.
Interesting me. Tell us more about it and what it does.
Well, so when I first started teaching this, I actually called it sense making, but really the sense making comes from the second course, which is uh, which is looking at a situation and understanding that that not all situations have one right solution. that when you make sense of a situation, sometimes you need experts or you need analysis to be able to come up with a solution. And in those cases, probably more than one solution is going to work. You may be making trade-offs, but those are um, that's a different type of situation. Those are complicated situations. Sometimes something is new and nobody knows what to do. And so those are complex situations where in advance you don't know what's going to work, but you can look back in hindsight and say, yeah, I knew Windows was going to be big. No, you didn't know. Nobody knew Windows was going to be big before it happened. Or COVID, like, oh, it was obvious that over time the virus was going to change and it was going to become less deadly. No, nobody knew that when it came out. So those are complex situations, and then there's the urgent or chaotic situations, which is like your house is on fire or your network is down, and the number one thing you have to do is reach safety, and then you can deal with the long-term consequences. So to be able to go in and make sense of a situation and say, hey, wait a minute, this is simple. I can just do something and not have to think about it. Or this is complicated. I need more information. I need to analyze. I need expertise. Or this is complex. I need to be trying things. And then to have a methodology of once you've come up with how you're going to solve the problem, to be able to position yourself so that you can observe what's happening. You can orient to come up with different things that you could do and what's likely to happen. You could decide and come up with what you're going to be trying, and then you can act. And as you're acting, you're observing that. And so for that part of sense making, I use a military strategy called OODA loops by John Boyd, and I teach that as part of the course, and that'll be part of the book as well.
Very cool. I don't know a lot about OODA loops, but what I know, it's pretty powerful, and it's just very little. That's awesome.
So I'm sorry. I just
Go
as you're
for
saying
it.
OODA loops. So I just finished that second course recently, and I mostly teach teachers, and so the teachers have to come up with lesson plans. And so one of the most original things is that they related the OODA loops to the Oompa Loompas. So they call the OODA Loompas, and they're
Yeah,
teaching first graders OODA loops. It's like, isn't that cool?
very cool. And I always look it up. We're not going to get into it because just search it. It's military has some.
OODA. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. See, great host, great
Mm.
guest, makes the host look better. Appreciate that. Now, going through your mind shifting, you have a community. So people
Mhm.
ask me all the time, how important are communities? I think they're vital. Talk about your community and why you started it. What was the goal?
So actually, so I'm when you said communities are vital, I'm going to go back to that first because there's a movie that I recently watched called Join or Die. And it's all about the importance of communities. And it's now Robert Prescott, I think his name is Pressman, the person who wrote Bowling Alone. He's featured in that movie. And it's been shown that when you're a member of a community, you become much more powerful and the community becomes so much better. And the whole village, city, state becomes much more competent if people are in communities. So I'm just going to echo what you said, that community is so important. I started the using mind shifting within as a community because as I was teaching the course, people would get back to me and say, Mitch, we taught this course and we go back to school and we teach the kids and we have things that come up and we don't have anybody else to talk to who knows the vocabulary. If there was a community, we could raise, I did this, or if I have something that I've done and it's really worked well, I want to be able to share it with others. And so we built the communities primarily for educators, so that as they're teaching uh, mind shifting, or as they're running into issues with kids and they don't really know how to handle something, they can raise it with other people who also understand the vocabulary behind mind shifting. And somebody says, okay, have you ever thought of doing the perhaps I can technique here? Or have you tried explaining to the kids why this is a complex issue? And they're probably not going to succeed the first time they do it. And so they can support each other rather than try to do something on their own.
Keyword support. I love that. Love that you said that because that's what community, amongst the many other things, the support is the key, especially when somebody's struggling. I hear this a lot, and there's a lot of definitions of this negative mindset. How does mind shifting, and how do you tell people who are listening, going, I've got a negative mindset. I wake up, I'm going to have a bad day. Oh, I know this is going to happen. I used to be like this. I'm not anymore. And thank you for what you've done and things. I can wake up and go, oh God, I'm going to lose money today in my trading. I'm just, no, it's because I lost money yesterday. Or, hey, today's a new day. I'm not going to have a negative mindset. I'm going to have positive. How do you work with that?
So I think that the first thing is to understand, and there's this phrase that I learned way before I did this, was whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And so if you kind of understand that, and then the next thing to understand is that this phrasing like I'm going to have a bad day or I can't do this, it's very often your survival parts of the brain that are trying to protect you. And those parts of the brain are so strong that you can't fight them. When you try to say, no, 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 it's not a bad day, or no, I'm going to fight this, it's like they get stronger and they come back even stronger than you have. So what you have to learn how to do is quiet those parts of the brain. Because when you are in your resourceful parts of the brain, it's like your juices are flowing, you're curious, you're playful, you're trying things out, you can't wait to see what happens. And so you can switch to that part. Everybody has both parts, but you can't just switch to it by saying, I'm not going to be limbic, I'm not going to be survival. You have to quiet those parts of the limbic first, and meditation, going for a walk, mindfulness, doing a sport, listening to music, however you can quiet those parts of the brain, you can do it, and you can tap into your own resourceful parts of the brain, so you have the power, and you can make your own choices.
Cool thing is anybody can do this, right?
Anybody, right? If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for saying that. Not that you say it that way, because I say all the time, I'm not special, but I'm special because I take action. I think that's the step that people take. Is me and you, I'm not going to guess how tall you are. I'm 5'8", but we're not going to play NBA pro basketball. That's a given. That's finite. That's not, we just know that. And that's
Wait a minute. Are you saying that at 70 years old, I can't turn around and train myself to play pro basketball? You just ruined the rest of my life.
I did. Assumptions there. I got to watch out. So, do you believe in affirmations? Do they work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's the big part of this. Your mind shifting is growing. How long have you been doing it?
So the first class that I taught was in 2018. That was to university.
So 7 years.
Right.
So it's a long time. You have experience. You've been through it all. Pick out a story that you worked with somebody with mind shifting and what the result was.
So there's so many great stories. I'm going to choose this one story where this woman who is taking the course, she and a friend were helping a third friend who was in an abusive relationship, and they were going to help her move. So they'd given her a list of things to do, and then on Saturday they were going to come pick up the stuff, bring her to her new house, and then leave. Okay. They get to her house on Saturday, and she hadn't done any of the things that she was supposed to do. And so these two friends look at each other, and they immediately start getting angry. Like, we told her what to do. It was so simple. All she had to do was pack. All she had to do was this. And then, like, the one who was taking the class, she stopped and she says, wait a minute. You know something? Let me just use some of the techniques of mindset. What do I really want to do today? And she came up back with, you know what I really want to do? I want to get my friend safe. And this friend isn't in a safe place, which is probably why she couldn't have done the things that she was supposed to do. So, you know something? Let me just talk to my other friend. And the two of them, they meditated for 5 or 10 minutes to be able to calm their limbic minds. And then they talked about what they really wanted to do. And then they set about and they helped pack, they prepared the things, they got the stuff in the car. At the end of the day, they felt so good about themselves, and they knew that they had made a difference. And it could have just dissolved because they could have just come, she didn't do the things, this is why she's always a failure, and they could have just walked away at that point.
Argued with her, so many bad things could have happened.
Yep.
That's you picked a great story. I know there's probably many. That's a great story because we can all deal with that. Mm-hmm. Husbands, wives, friends, family, coworkers, all across the board. Coming to the end here, but I'm so excited about mind shifting. What do you see in the next 2 to 3 years? What's mind shifting going to look like?
Well, what my goal is, and I don't know that I
Yeah.
certainly can't do it by myself in 2 or 3 years, but my goal is if we could get a critical mass of people in the world who understood how to tap into their resourceful parts of their mind, who understood that you try things, you take feedback from them, and then you go on to the next step. And you understood how to collaborate with people instead of these destructive conflicts, the whole earth would change. And so my goal is to have some critical mass of people, and arbitrarily, I'm going to say 5 million out of the 8 billion people on the planet. If we could get 5 million people who really knew this, boy, that would make a difference. They'd be living happier lives, they'd be more successful, and then the whole planet would change. So that's my goal.
Glad you said the number because I was going to say it if you didn't. I'm glad it doesn't matter because that's an audacious goal. It's called Harry Hags, Harry Audacious Goal something.
Right.
One of my
Yes.
guests said that's what that is, and we should have those. Everybody should have those.
Everybody
You hit
should.
it, you hit it, you're going to 10 million. You hit 10 million, you go to high. Just
Yep.
keep adding to it. Well, let's end with a really fun question.
Okay.
So I've got a reservation at a restaurant for you. You've got
Okay.
3 empty chairs. You're going to sit in the 4th chair. Who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive? And what food would you order for the table?
So 3 other people. So I think I I would probably invite Jesus. I'd invite Siddhartha or Buddha, and I would invite Muhammad. And I would sit down with the 3 of them and we would just kind of figure out how we could make the world a better place. Now, what would we eat? I think that all of us probably eat different things, but I would say that for that meal, we would probably have a vegetarian meal.
And Jesus will bring the fish because he can just
Right,
throw out there and bring a bunch of fish. And I
right,
love that.
right.
That's a very cool. What a table. I'm just thinking about that table. Oh, I have to pull up a chair. I just have to hear those 3 talking.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, it would be. That's why I love asking that question. Your thoughts start going, that'd be very interesting. Blessing, Mitch, what you're doing, because your business is a servant's heart. And an audience, I tell this all the time, there's value to what your servant is. You should be paid for that. But what Mitch is doing is far beyond just service. He wants to change lives and impact. I really appreciate you being on and taking the time to be here. I know people are going to reach out to me, but before they do that, how can they find you?
Well, my website is mindshiftingwithmitch.com. That's probably the easiest way. I'm on LinkedIn. Um, I'm actually on Facebook a little bit, but I think mindshiftingwithmitch.com is the easiest way. There's links there to buy the first book or the additional books. There's links for the courses, and you can find out about mind shifting. And you can contact me.
Yeah, reach out. I'm sure there's and I'm glad you mentioned where to find the book because I was going to ask you. So you guys can find the book and keep an eye on it for 2 and 3 that are coming out. And glad you mentioned the classes. He's doing classes on this, guys and girls. Reach out to him and learn more about it. I'm sure he's going to be able to help you do that. I want to thank me and Mitch want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here's why. If mind shifting has resonated with you, and you're going to reach out, but you have a friend that needs this, think about the story he just told. Imagine you did that with somebody and got this gift of mind shifting by sharing this link. Just go, hey, just listen to Mitch on this guy's podcast.
And let me just say also that if you're listening to this podcast, you've obviously found it, okay? But you should subscribe. I've probably listened to 8, 9 of your podcasts, and you have, except for me, you have the best guests, one after another. So even if you didn't like, me on this podcast, people like, Drew Delaney, who's, you've had on a few times. I just listened to the one about Brian Beckham recently. Just one after another, your guests, and you bring the best out of them. So people should subscribe to your podcast.
That wasn't a paid endorsement, but I'm going to pay him back through the universe, through God, with God's currency. Thank you. There you go. That's what it's about. I love my subscribers, but think of these as gifts. It doesn't have to be mine. Like Mitch said, somebody else's you're listening to, go, I got to share this with somebody. Easiest gift in the world. And the impact you made is incredible. Again, thank you so much for watching. Me and Mitch, thank you for being here. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with the Serpent Time. Have a great day, everyone.